Hello, friends. Welcome to Daily Scripture with Tim Wildsmith, presented by the New International Version and the NIV Daily Scripture Bible. In this podcast, we are taking a journey through the entire Bible together, one day, one episode, one passage at a time. This is day 182, which means, yes, it's the end of week 26, marking the halfway point of our year-long journey through the Bible. Join me after our readings today for our reflection conversation with Becca, where we sit down and look back on not just this week, but the first 6 months of this reading plan and share how it's been and how God has been speaking to us through His Word. These weekly conversations have been incredible, and today is a very special one. Our Old Testament reading today is 1 Chronicles 1:1 through 2:17. Adam, Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, Noah. The sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittites, and the Rodanites. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on earth. Egypt was the father of the Luddites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphthites, Pathrusites, Casluhites, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorites. Canaan was the father of Sidon his firstborn, and of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. The sons of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Meshech. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah the father of Eber. 2 sons were born to Eber. One was named Peleg because in his time the earth was divided. His brother was named Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Diklah, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were sons of Joktan. Shem, Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Ru, Serug, Nahor, Terah, and Abram, that is, Abraham. The sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael. These were their descendants. Nebaioth, the firstborn of Ishmael, Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jeter, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael. The sons born to Keturah, Abraham's concubine, Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. The sons of Jokshan, Sheba, and Dedan. The sons of Midian, Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All these were descendants of Keturah. Abraham was the father of Isaac. The sons of Isaac, Esau and Israel. The sons of Esau, Eliphaz, Reuel, Jeush, Jalam, and Korah. The sons of Eliphaz, Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. By Timnah, Amalek. The sons of Reuel, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. The sons of Ser, Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishon, Ezer, and Dishan. The sons of Lotan, Hori, and Homam. Timnah was Lotan's sister. The sons of Shobal, Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. The sons of Zibeon, Aiah, and Anna. The son of Anna, Dishon. The sons of Dishon, Himdan, Eshban, Ithran, and Kiran. The sons of Ezer, Bilhan, Zavan, and Achan. The sons of Dishan, Uz, and Aaron. These were the kings who reigned in Edom before any Israelite king reigned. Bela son of Beor, whose city was named Dinhaba. When Bela died, Jobab son of Zerah from Bozrah succeeded him as king. When Jobab died, Husham from the land of the Temanites succeeded him as king. When Husham died, Hadad son of Bedad, who defeated Midian in the country of Moab, succeeded him as king. His city was named Avith. When Hadad died, Samlah from Masrekah succeeded him as king. When Samlah died, Shaul from Rehoboth on the river succeeded him as king. When Shaul died, Baal-Hanan son of Achbor succeeded him as king. When Baal-Hanan died, Hadad succeeded him as king. His city was named Pau, and his wife's name was Mehetabel, daughter of Matred, the daughter of Me-Zahab. Hadad also died. The chiefs of Edom were Timnah, Alva, Jetheth, Aholibamah, Elah, Pinan, Kenaz, Teman, Mibzar, Magdiel, and Iram. These were the chiefs of Edom. Chapter 2. These were the sons of Israel: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Judah: Onan, and Shelah. These three were born to him by a Canaanite woman, the daughter of Shua. Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death. Judah's daughter-in-law Tamar bore Perez and Zerah to Judah. He had 5 sons in all. The sons of Perez: Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Zerah: Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Darda, 5 in all. The son of Carmi: Achar, who brought trouble on Israel by violating the ban on taking devoted things. The son of Ethan: Azariah. The sons born to Hezron were Jerahmeel, Ram, and Caleb. Ram was the father of Amminadab, and Amminadab the father of Nahshon, the leader of the people of Judah. Nahshon was the father of Salmon, Salmon the father of Boaz, Boaz the father of Obed, and Obed the father of Jesse. Jesse was the father of Eliab, his firstborn. The second son was Abinadab, the third Shimeah, the fourth Nathaniel, the fifth Radai, the sixth Ozem, and the seventh David. Their sisters were Zeruiah and Abigail. Zeruiah's 3 sons were Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Abigail was the mother of Amasa, whose father was Jether the Ishmaelite. Our New Testament reading today is Acts 21, 1 through 26. After we had torn ourselves away from them, we put out to sea and sailed straight to Kos. The next day we went to Rhodes, and from there to Patara. We found a ship crossing over to Phoenicia, went on board, and set sail. After sighting Cyprus and passing to the south of it, we sailed on to Syria. We landed at Tyre, where our ship was to unload its cargo. We sought out the disciples there and stayed with them 7 days. Through the Spirit, they urged Paul not to go on to Jerusalem. When it was time to leave, we left and continued on our way. All of them, including wives and children, accompanied us out of the city, and there on the beach we knelt to pray. After saying goodbye to each other, we went aboard the ship, and they returned home. We continued our voyage from Tyre and landed at Ptolemais, where we greeted the brothers and sisters and stayed with them for a day. Leaving the next day, we reached Caesarea and stayed at the house of Philip the evangelist, one of the 7. He had 4 unmarried daughters who prophesied. After we had been there a number of days, a prophet named Agabus came down from Judea. Coming over to us, he took Paul's belt, tied his own hands and feet with it, and said, "The Holy Spirit says, in this way the Jewish leaders in Jerusalem will bind the owner of this belt and will hand him over to the Gentiles." When we heard this, we and the people there pleaded with Paul not to go up to Jerusalem. Then Paul answered, "Why are you weeping and breaking my heart? I am ready not only to be bound, but also to die in Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus." When he would not be dissuaded, we gave up and said, "The Lord's will be done." After this, we started on our way up to Jerusalem. Some of the disciples from Caesarea accompanied us and brought us to the home of Mnason, where we were to stay. He was a man from Cyprus and one of the early disciples. When we arrived at Jerusalem, the brothers and sisters received us warmly. The next day, Paul and the rest of us went to see James, and all the elders were present. Paul greeted them and reported in detail what God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. When they heard this, they praised God. Then they said to Paul, "You see, brother, how many thousands of Jews have believed, and all of them are zealous for the law. They have been informed that you teach all the Jews who live among the Gentiles to turn away from Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or live according to our customs. What shall we do? They will certainly hear that you have come, so do what we tell you. There are 4 men with us who have made a vow. Take these men, join in their purification rites, and pay their expenses so that they can have their heads shaved. Then everyone will know there is no truth in these reports about you, but that you yourself are living in obedience to the law. As for the Gentile believers, we have written to them our decision that they should abstain from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, from the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality." The next day, Paul took the men and purified himself along with them. Then he went to the temple to give notice of the date when the days of purification would end and the offering would be made for each of them. Our psalm reading today is Psalm 78, 56 through 72. But they put God to the test and rebelled against the Most High. They did not keep his statutes. Like their ancestors, they were disloyal and faithless, as unreliable as a faulty bow. They angered him with their high places. They aroused his jealousy with their idols. When God heard them, he was furious. He rejected Israel completely. He abandoned the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent he had set up among humans. He sent the ark of his might into captivity, his splendor into the hands of the enemy. He gave his people over to the sword. He was furious with his inheritance. Fire consumed their young men, and their young women had no wedding songs. Their priests were put to the sword, and their widows could not weep. Then the Lord awoke as from sleep, as a warrior wakes from the stupor of wine. He beat back his enemies. He put them to everlasting shame. Then he rejected the tents of Joseph. He did not choose the tribe of Ephraim, but he chose the tribe of Judah, Mount Zion, which he loved. He built his sanctuary like the heights, like the earth that he established forever. He chose David his servant and took him from the sheep pens. From tending the sheep, he brought him to be the shepherd of his people Jacob, of Israel, his inheritance. And David shepherded them with integrity of heart, with skillful hands he led them. Thanks for joining me for day 182 of Daily Scripture with Tim Wildsmith, presented by the New International Version and the NIV Daily Scripture Bible. Now here's my week 26 reflection conversation with Becca. Welcome to our week 26 reflection conversation.
We are halfway there.
High five. Halfway. Well,
we said we were going to have a celebration, and I just want everybody to know that's not watching but listening that I have eaten cookies moments before this began.
She did.
So
here's the truth, though.
Yeah.
We're not halfway there.
What do you mean?
We are halfway.
Is this like Whole 30 where you do 30 days and then you do 10 more?
It's week 26, day 182.
Okay.
What is 182 times 2?
A lot.
364.
4. So we need to do one more day?
We won't be, we're halfway through the weeks. We technically won't be
halfway through. I thought day 182, I even wrote it in my Bible.
It's the halfway.
You're telling me I celebrated early?
Well, it's halfway through tomorrow is technically the exact midpoint.
Well, I don't like that. I wanted to celebrate now.
I learned.
Look, it says halfway on day 182.
I saw that you wrote that. You're just slightly off.
Bad at math.
Do you know one of the most important things I learned when I was writing Daily Scripture Guidebook was that 365, the number of days in the year, is not divisible by 7.
That's right.
7 times 52 is 364, not 365. I thought
it's leap. Wait, is it because there's a leap?
No, this is not leap year. That would be 366. I thought the year was exactly 52 weeks, but it's 52 weeks in a day. Is that not crazy? You'll notice that if you go to your book in week 52. You'll notice that there are 8 days of readings for week 52 because there's an extra day.
Oh, well, let me go take a little look.
Isn't that wild? We'll talk about this again in 26 weeks.
There's a whole nother set of check boxes in the back of this book.
Yeah, we put that in there.
I don't remember that. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Y'all, I have not scrolled to the back of the book because I've not gotten there yet, but it says the reading plan and then there's check marks.
That's right. You can check it off back there too. Or you could use it again next
Literally,
year.
check it twice.
Check it
Excellent.
twice.
Okay.
She's making a list. She's checking
There's
it twice.
8 check boxes for week 52. All right. Well, there you go.
Okay, so before we dive into 26, how has the first half of this Bible in a Year journey been for you in general?
The first 6 months. In general, I would say that it has been really meaningful, primarily because I'm not doing it by myself. So in the past, I've done the Bible in a year 2 other times, but I did it by myself.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I kind of had a missing, like there was something missing to that. There wasn't someone to bounce questions off of or have conversation with, to talk about what I was reading, to go through the struggle with, to go through the celebration or the excitement of. And so it's been really nice to journey through the Bible with this community and with you, and just being able to have community to do it with.
Yeah, totally agree. I think sitting here with you each week has been the highlight of it for me. Obviously, I'm doing this differently because I'm recording the audio podcast daily, so I'm reading the Bible into a microphone.
Which I think all of us thank you for, because when I read these names...
Early on, today's names, the beginning of First Chronicles, when we first started, a lot of people were like, I love the way you read the Bible. I haven't heard that very much anymore, so maybe people are just getting used to me or getting tired of me. But that process has been really cool, and this togetherness, I think, is really true. I think what I would like to figure out is, I see the comments on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, but because there's a lot of people who are just listening to us, there's not a great way for them to, like, you can't leave a comment in Spotify or the Apple podcast
But they
app.
Can leave a review. Thank you in
Hey.
advance. Little plug there.
I do think I would love to, running this back, we're going to do this again in 2027.
Yep.
I would love to figure out a way to, I'm looking into some ways to have some more community.
All right.
I don't want to just start a Facebook group because Facebook is so, I'm over Facebook. Anyway, so we got to figure something out.
But a way for the community to engage with one another beyond comments of a YouTube video.
Yeah. That's what I'd like to do.
But let's brainstorm on that.
Yeah, it's been a gift, and I feel like the fact that we're halfway through is wild to me because it feels like we just started yesterday.
I completely agree.
But
I completely agree.
So,
but it was an interesting week of readings.
It was. So before we dive into that, just thank you to all of you for continuing to be in this with us and for joining us on this journey. It's been a lot of fun, and you're not alone. There are thousands and thousands of people listening to this every day and joining us every week, and it's been a lot of fun. So we hope that it continues to grow.
Yeah.
It's nice to kind of have little mild celebration moments.
I completely agree.
Week 26 really does feel like we're coming to the end of something because yesterday we finished 2 Kings. And
we did.
And really the beginning of the week started with the exile of the northern kingdom of Israel. The end of the week was the exile of the southern kingdom of Judah. So we really are seeing kind of everything that we've been building towards through this divided kingdom has now come to fruition in the Old Testament. And it was a lot. It was a lot to read.
A lot.
Were you tracking with the timeline of how the Assyrian Empire came in and conquered the northern kingdom first and carried them off to exile, but then the southern kingdom got a reprieve under Hezekiah and then later Josiah.
Yes,
and so
that there was time in between those 2 exiles, and I was tracking as best I could track.
I don't know that I wrote this in the book, but I think it's helpful to see the timeline. So 722 BC is when the Assyrian Empire conquered the north. 587 BC, so about 150, almost 150 years later, is everything we read about Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon at the very end in the last couple of days. So there's like this 140 some odd year period where it's like, and even then we saw Nebuchadnezzar came in early, and then he named a new king, and there was 11 years. So there was a little bit of time. We'll see this in the prophets, like we see how some of the prophets go early in the exile, and they're talking about the people who are left in Jerusalem, and you're like, wait, I thought we were all exiled. No, there was this 11-year gap.
But it was interesting to me too, because I don't recall this on previous readings, that when they sort of exiled all the people, they left behind like the poorest of the poor. Like it was sort of just like, it doesn't matter.
They took the important people, they took the skilled people, and then they left behind others.
They left the rest of the people.
Yeah, they don't need riffraff. They want their kingdom to be good.
I mean, hey, not everybody's riffraff. I was like, those poor people got left behind.
That
but
is your
that
21st century fairness brain thinking. That is not how these empires were thinking.
I suppose that's probably true. But
so
yeah.
It began with this guy named Ahaz back in like 2 Kings 16, 17, kind of leading them into deeper compromise.
Yep.
And then that's on the Judah side. And then Israel's final rebellion kind of gets conquered by Assyria. And I highlighted that in, let's see here, 2 Kings 17, the heading in the NIV is Israel exiled because of sin.
Yep.
And it just says, they name it. All this took place. This is verse 7. All this took place because the Israelites had sinned against the Lord their God, who had brought them up out of Egypt from under the power of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And then it goes on to say, he told them to honor him and not to worship other gods. They did exactly what he told them not to do. And this exile, the northern exile to Assyria, is a consequence of that. We basically get much of that repeated at the end of the week when the southern kingdom of Judah is getting conquered and exiled to Babylon.
Yeah.
So it's a really, we see very clearly, like, and we've seen this coming for a long time. Like the back and forth, the up and down. It was.
I literally wrote more poor leadership.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what else to say.
But then we get this reprieve with Hezekiah, right?
Yeah.
So bad leadership. I think one of the ways I look at it as,
and then Josiah.
We've talked about there's 20 in the north, 20 in the south.
Yeah.
All of them are bad in the north, which makes sense why the north is carried off into exile first.
Yes.
Hezekiah is this breath of fresh air because he trusts God in a way that many kings have not. And Assyria, who's carried off the north, is threatening him, but God delivers the city from the Assyrians because of Hezekiah's honor of God.
Yeah.
And because he honors him. And you're like, okay, maybe that was the worst of it. And then you turn around the next day and his own son, Manasseh, ends up being like the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst.
I had totally forgotten about this. I thought it went straight from Hezekiah to Josiah. Maybe that's me wanting the good stuff in the Bible.
Yeah.
I totally forgot. And it makes it very clear. Like, Josiah rebounded things. He has this huge reform, but God has not gotten over what happened with Manasseh.
Yes,
like
100%.
Hezekiah,
I mean, it says that.
Hezekiah did so much good, and then Manasseh is almost like, okay, God, take this. I'm going to rebuild all the bad stuff.
It said it was the worst group of people since Egypt.
Yeah, I wrote down this was the darkest years under Manasseh, and I forget about that, right?
I also don't want to jump over though Hezekiah's sort of this relationship that he had with God, encircled around prayer and how he's praying, and even to the point where when he was ill and had this illness that everyone's like, he's going to die from this. He prayed and God gave him another, 12 years or 15 years or something like that. And it's just like, again, seeing at least some glimmers of faith and some glimmers of hope and belief that God is the one true God, helped me kind of get through the other rough parts.
Yeah.
Because once again, we're even with Josiah, he's just trying to rebuild the temple. He's just trying to do good.
I love how they're like, hey, we're going to spend the money. We're going to hire these people
and we're
to rebuild
pay them
things.
fairly,
and then they literally, like, the question I have of this section of the scripture is like, the priest discovers the book of the law. Like, have they had gotten?
Where has it been?
I think this is a symbol of how bad things have gotten under Manasseh, where they've been using the temple to worship other gods, and the original form of worship for honoring God in the book of the law, it's literally been desecrated and ignored.
Yeah.
And so Josiah, they read this in his presence, and he's like, "What have we done?" And so the reforms that then happen under Josiah are like, this is sweeping across the nation, and it's renewal, but God says this has still gone too far. And then we see the rise of Babylon in those last few chapters, and again, it's kind of hard to follow because it's back and forthing a little bit. But they initially come in, they take off. I think it was Jehoiachin or Jehoiakim. I can't remember. There's a lot of names.
I don't know. There was a lot of J names.
But he replaces him with some new leadership, but then eventually comes back and fully destroys everything. And then you read about his general who comes in and sets the temple on fire. It's like the book of 2 Kings ends with Jerusalem in rubble, burning. Literally, it's on fire and it's in rubble. And everything, like in the glory of the Solomon years when we're building this temple and everything's going well, and the David years where the kingdom is being built up, we're now like literally sitting in an ash heap.
Literally, the end of 2 Kings, the verse is, Judah was forced into captivity.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and that's the bookend.
Yeah.
You're like, well.
I know. It's really sad.
So, not particularly encouraging, even though there were
Not
a
particularly
couple
encouraging.
of uplifting parts. But
then we turn the page. We turn the page today. Our
Yep.
reading today was the first chapter and a half of 1 Chronicles. Now,
Yep.
I don't know if I wrote this in the book, but this is not where this book would have originally been. We get 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. In the original Hebrew Bible, Chronicles was the last book. So it would have been the last book of what we call the Old Testament. That's why
just
it goes
to literally chronicle everything that happened.
what is the first word of 1 Chronicles?
I don't. Well,
Adam. It's
oh,
the genealogy.
Yeah. The genealogy.
They literally go back to the beginning. So Chronicles, again, divided into two because it was too much to be written on
Right.
one scroll. Chronicles was the original last book of the Hebrew Bible. They go all the way back to Adam, and now they're going to retell the whole story.
I feel like you do say that because it has a name. No, you didn't. No.
The Chronicle of Sacred History.
Okay, okay.
I'll probably say it in tomorrow's reading when we
Okay,
go into week
okay,
27
okay.
because I probably focused on the end of the
Yeah.
exile. But that's what's happening here is we're going back to the beginning. And they're going to focus a lot. We'll talk about this more next week. They're going to focus a lot on King David and the
Okay.
royal reign. It's going to repeat a lot of what we've just read, which
Right.
is another reason why I don't really love this placement is because it's like, didn't
Yeah.
we just do this?
Yeah.
But
Isn't it the
the-
whole purpose of it to help remind us of where we've been and where we're going?
It is, but I think it really makes sense to come at the end of the Old Testament because it's like, hey, let's look back on everything.
Gotcha.
And it's a
Okay.
more, again, we'll talk about this next week. You just look out as you're reading 1 Chronicles and 2 Chronicles. It's a more hopeful look back on what happened.
Okay. Well, I'm ready for some hopeful.
There's a
'cause
little,
This has been,
there's a little less of the, there's a little less of the bad stuff.
Okay.
We'll talk about
Good.
that in the future. So keep an eye out for that. It's a
I'm
little teaser for next
I'm
week.
excited for that. Then.
So-
That's good.
The New Testament this week, we were Acts 16
Mm-hmm.
into all the way through into 21, and we're really now on the road with Paul.
Yeah.
And kind of seeing all, again, there's
Tons
so
of
many
missionary
little
work.
moments.
Mhm,
And you're
mhm.
like, oh, I forgot about that. I forgot
Yep.
about that. I forgot about that. And it's like things go really well, and then he faces some persecution
Yep.
or death threats or terrible stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
we're just seeing this early, kind of messy explosion of the gospel in the modern world at
Yeah.
that time. So what stood out to you about the New Testament readings this week?
Just Paul's perseverance.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't think that, that I would have been able to deal with that much ridicule and that much debate and that much fighting and that much
Yeah.
trying to just like hammer in a point. I think I would have been like, you know what? At one point, I mean, and he says this lovingly, your blood is not on my hands
Mm-hmm.
because I have done everything I can so that you have heard the good news of the gospel.
Yeah.
So like he wasn't saying that in a negative way, but I think that's what I'd be thinking in a negative way. I'd be thinking, you numbskulls, like you can't get this through your thick head. See ya, I'm moving on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But also I would have been
He
I would
does
have
that
been
a couple
scared.
times with
I
the
would have
Jews. He says to the Jews, hey, like,
been, yeah.
I'm going to go talk to the Gentiles now.
Yeah,
Like,
because y'all ain't getting it.
yeah.
But I just I'm encouraged and challenged by his perseverance
Yeah.
and his ability to time and time again, continue to fight the good fight
Yeah.
of trying to, help people understand that Jesus is the Messiah
Yeah.
for all people.
Yeah.
And how incredible that was, regardless of everything he experienced. And to the point where he even said, my life is nothing. Like,
Yeah.
why are you guys scared for me? My life means nothing.
Yeah. I'm ready to go die.
I'm
for
ready
this.
to go die for this.
That was the
and you're like,
that was the second.
what?
I'll go backwards. The last couple of chapters that we read yesterday and today, where Paul is telling people, "Hey, you're not going to see me.
You're going
again."
to see me again.
And they're like,
he's going to
weeping
Jerusalem
and
and
kissing
yeah.
him and praying for him. Like that really hit me hard. Like, oh, like the humanity of this. Like you're
Like, he's
reading
a
these
real
stories.
person.
Yeah, you're reading these
He's-
stories, and it's a really famous person. But you're like, oh, there was some real like. If you go hang out somewhere for years on end or months on end,
Yeah.
like real relationships are
Yeah.
built, and that's kind of the stuff that I think.
And when you're
is
going
hard to
home
fathom.
from that or going somewhere and knowing you're never going to see someone
Mm-hmm.
again, like we can always be like, we'll see you later, because we always think that we're
Yeah.
going to be able to see people again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Not so much.
he's going. We're not going to see each other
The
again.
other one that jumps out to me, and this is a very famous passage for a lot of people, particularly in the scholarly world, is chapter 7 when he goes to Athens and he's in the marketplace and he goes and he meets with all the philosophers. And
Oh.
I love the way he contextualizes the gospel in the world of Greek mythology and Greek philosophy. And it's like it's a beautiful, to me.
Where was that again?
Chapter 17 of Acts. He goes to Athens and he goes and he speaks to all of these philosophers.
Yes.
And it's he's talking about you have this statue to the unknown God. He's basically saying, I can tell you who that God is.
Yeah.
Right? And I just feel like this translates really well into today's culture. Paul is contextualizing the gospel for the people in terms that they can understand it.
Yeah.
And we have to do the same thing in our world.
Yeah.
We have to take Jesus into the world around us in a way. I shared an anecdote in my last sermon at church a few weeks ago about like we have to keep building bridges over the culture that we have, right? And and keep reaching people with the gospel. And that means we have to come up with new ways to do that. And the old good stuff is true. Like a lot of what Paul says in Acts, like, hey, Jesus is the one and we need to have our faith in him. That's the core message still.
Yeah.
But we can contextualize that and be creative in how we do that, which I think is, I mean, even right now, we're talking about Jesus on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like what I do on YouTube. Like all of those sorts of things are trying to help people understand it in a modern way. And I think we see that here in the work of Paul.
Yeah,
which is
he's
really
able
cool.
to sort of be this chameleon. And you had mentioned this
that's
in
a
the
good word
book.
for it.
You were like, Paul's background as a Roman citizen who's also fluent in Greek culture, like perfectly positioned him to be able to go into these groups of people and communicate with them in a way that they understood, and versus some of these other people that we saw going around talking about Jesus. So, yeah, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah. When we get to the Psalms this week, we spent basically the whole week in Psalm 78. It's one of the longer Psalms.
Once again, being reminded of all the things that...
It's literally like the fact that this lined up with the same week we were reading the end of the divided kingdom narrative, because it's telling us, like, it's like the perfect lens for understanding why the kingdoms have fallen.
Yeah.
Because we're just very poetically going back and telling the whole story of God's faithfulness, all the incredible things he did, and then the repeated rebellion of the people. And so you're reading this almost every day after you're reading the other story,
and you're
going,
like,
man, oh man.
Here we are.
Even sometimes when it paralleled a couple times with Paul having these showdowns with the Jews, and you're like, history repeats itself, right? Like you're still being thick-headed, like, so.
What did they call? What did he call? What did they? Stiff-necked people.
Stiff-necked people,
what it was.
yeah, thick-headed.
Like,
I said stiff-necked.
What was it?
I would encourage y'all, if we're going to read, I think tomorrow we're going to finish 78. Maybe just go back and read 78. If you have time, read Psalm 78 straight through. We've broken it up over, a week here.
Oh,
but
so we didn't finish it. I was going to say, because we got introduced, then it starts to lighten up a little bit in this last stage reading, where it's like, he chose the tribe of Judah. He chose David, his servant, to watch over his flock. So like,
or maybe we did finish it today.
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Let me see. 78. Yeah, we go to 79 next week.
Okay.
Yeah, so today was the last day. It ends with David.
Maybe
there is a
go
bright
back
spot.
after you listen to this or watch this and
read
just the whole thing, because it really does kind of.
Yeah.
We're at this little moment, A, in our reading plan journey, because we're kind of hitting the halfway mark. B, we've just finished 2 Kings. And so historically, this is literally like, we've gone back with Adam to at the beginning of 1 Chronicles. So basically everything we've done from Abraham up through the Babylonian exile has all been one big timeline. Yeah. And now we're kind of taking a breath. Yeah. So it's a good time to kind of go reintroduce ourselves to some of those things.
It's a miracle I forgot all this stuff happened in the first place, because it's repeated so many times. Yeah. Like how many times have I read the Bible all the way through and don't remember half of this stuff? I'm like, man, oh man.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
There is a lot going on.
Yeah.
So in the Old Testament side of things, the kingdoms have fallen.
Yes.
The people are in exile. Now we're going to, through 1st and 2nd Chronicles, be kind of recapping all of that.
Yep.
And then we're going to move on. And then in Acts, we still have about another week and a half in Acts, and you're going to see how Paul is going back to Jerusalem now. He's back in Jerusalem, and things are about to kind of ramp up in this final third of the book of Acts, because we're going to see what happens when that opposition comes in a big way from both the religious leaders in Judaism and the Roman authorities, and how that kind of leads things. So, and then we keep marching through Psalms. We are over halfway through the Psalms. Well, number-wise, there's 150.
150.
But 119 is really long. We're going to be reading it for a long time, because it's 150 verses itself.
Got it.
So, so much good stuff.
There are, it's rich with. I've been being challenged. This week was a little bit different because it definitely felt a little more like a historical account. But man, every time I'm reading those Psalms, I'm like, ooh, Oof.
Yeah.
And the Proverbs especially.
Yeah.
I'm like little nuggets of wisdom that
Definitely.
I'm like, I need to start
Definitely.
doing that.
Well, before we wrap things up, as this episode is coming out, it is the first day of July, which means we have a new featured title.
Very exciting.
I actually requested this one
Oh.
from our friends at the NIV in Zondervan. This is the
Okay.
Zondervan Handbook to the Bible. I'll hand that to you.
Handbook
This
to the
This has
Bible.
been around
Can I
for a
look at
long
this?
time, but this is the newly updated, I think it's the 6th edition, where they've updated the maps and the charts and the graphs and all that
I've
stuff.
taken that exact picture at
Yeah?
the Vatican.
Oh, yeah, the Vatican. Is that Paul or
It's
Peter?
Paul. Well, great question. I will have to consult my art book.
But this is,
Ooh.
it's called a handbook, but it's basically got detailed information about every book of the Bible.
Oh,
It
this
is
is
full
cool.
color. It has articles. It has charts. It
that the
has
temple?
graphs. It has infographics. It has so much incredible content that is designed to help you see the Bible
Wow.
and understand the Bible as you're going through it. It is
This is really cool.
it's a really good companion.
When did you first encounter this?
This has been around forever. I've seen it before, but this just came out. This is the new updated, I believe, 6th edition of this. And
This is really cool.
It's just one of those things where you can like we started reading 1st and 2nd Chronicles today. You can
Yeah.
open up to the 1st and 2nd Chronicles section, and it's going to, instead of just like diving in, it's going to give you a lay of the land
Okay.
in a really, really good way.
Okay.
And I think that will be helpful to people. Like right here, you just opened it
Yeah.
up. It's like all of this information about what you're going to be reading throughout these books.
This
so-
is cool. Like it's even describing the breakdown of the genealogy.
And how it all works.
Yeah.
So just
That's really
really, really great
cool.
content. To answer your question, yes, they sent us a few copies of this.
Okay, great.
So we have some for giveaways. We have one for you. This is your copy.
Okay, good. I was
You're
going
going
to
to
say,
hang
I'd
out
love
with
to
this.
actually.
And then we've got a couple more that we're going to be giving away at the end of July. This is 2026, if for some reason you're listening to this in the future.
in the future.
Like all of our previous giveaways, you can enter by you can subscribe to my newsletter. It's timwildsmith.com/newsletter and sign up. Somebody asked last month, do we have to unsubscribe and resubscribe? No. If you are subscribed, anybody who's on that list is entered into win the giveaway. And then I've also got a couple posts on Instagram and Facebook. If you go check out the pinned post on my accounts, you can enter to win on Instagram and Facebook as well.
This is awesome.
The Zondervan Handbook, is it to the Bible?
And it's
Handbook to the Bible.
The 6th edition.
Yep.
Over 3 million copies
Sold.
Yeah,
It's great.
This is awesome. I'm
It's great.
excited to dig in. I'm going to add this to my pile of references as I'm going through this down
It's a
in the
solid
summer.
one. I'm excited about
That's
it. So
awesome.
thank you to the NIV and Zondervan
Yes,
for
thank you,
sponsoring the
thank you.
podcast. Thank you all for listening and joining us through this first 6 months of this.
Yeah.
As a friendly reminder, the book and the plan are not dated.
They are
so
not.
you can tell people, hey, I'm reading through the Bible and I'm really enjoying
Mm-hmm.
it. They got this couple on YouTube who are talking about it every week, and they can pick it up and start on
Yep.
day one, and they can just listen and
Yep.
join us each week and follow along at their own pace, and
Yep.
they can catch up to us or just take their own time doing
Yeah.
it. So share this with your friends, and if you're enjoying this, come find us on social media or YouTube and leave us a comment and let us know how much you love it and what you love about it. As we shared earlier about our experience with the 6 months, we'd love to hear yours as
We'd
well.
love to hear what you guys are thinking and feeling as you're reading. It's doing this in community is definitely making it so much more enjoyable and fruitful.
Yeah,
So I'm
absolutely.
grateful.
Halfway done, halfway to go. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody.
We'll see you next time.